As the COVID-19 crisis continues to impact millions of working families who are losing their jobs due to the pandemic, many states, including Illinois, have expanded unemployment benefits to those most affected. If you have been laid off or had your hours reduced, it is very, very important that you apply for unemployment benefits right away. This video will show you how to navigate the online application step by step. Please be patient during this process, as due to large demand, the website is often slow, not fully functioning, or may not be available when you log on. If this happens, be sure to try again later in the day. Be persistent and keep trying. So to apply for unemployment online, the first thing you want to do is navigate to the website of the Illinois Department of Employment and Security, the IDES. You can do this by going to www.ides.illinois.gov. As of today, the date of this recording, April 3rd, 2020, this is what the landing page looks like. It includes the most up-to-date information and lists of frequently asked questions about Illinois unemployment benefits, generally, and also how the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting unemployment benefits in Illinois. If you get to this page and it looks a little different than what you see here, that's probably because the state is fairly consistently updating information. But that's also why this page can be extremely helpful in finding the most up-to-date information. The most important thing to do on this page right now is look up the filing schedule for the IDES that they have implemented to determine on which days applicants should file for benefits. Because of the overwhelming phone and web traffic due to COVID-19 job layoffs, the IDES has seen massive increases, which are making it difficult for everyone to apply at once. Use this guide to make sure you are applying on the correct day, determined by the first letter of your last name. After you have identified on which day you are eligible to apply, you need to gather all the materials you will need in order to complete the online application. To do so, you can go down here to where it says Necessary Information under File for Unemployment Insurance. This brings you to a page where it lays out all the documents that you should get together before you start your application, such as Social Security info, state ID, wage records such as W-2s and pay stubs, and more. Having all this information ready before you start your application will really help you speed things up. Once you've gathered all of the documents listed here that are relevant to yourself or any dependents you may be claiming, click on the back button to return to the previous page. This is a really important page, since the website will log you out after 1 hour of inactivity, and you don't want to have all your progress lost because you were running around looking for something. Once you've gathered all the needed materials, you are ready to start your application. Go under the File for Unemployment Insurance icon and head down to the heading titled File a UI Claim Online. Click this link. This brings you to a page titled 10 Things You Should Know, which highlights the most important things to keep in mind before you apply for benefits. You should read all of these very carefully and make sure you understand them. Then, once you have read and understood these 10 things, you should go down to the bottom of the page, and before you try and file your claim, you want to read the section that says, I certify that I have followed this link and read the information regarding terms, conditions, and fees associated with the debit card. I understand that I may select direct deposit as an alternative method. This is important because unemployment benefits in Illinois are paid out either as a direct deposit into your bank account or loaded onto a debit card, and this debit card has fees associated with it. So if you click here, this will open a page that lays out all the fees associated with the debit card, should you choose that as the way you want to receive benefits. Once you have read this page and understood all of these fees, then you can click the back button to return to the previous page. Now you are ready to check off that you certify that you have followed that link and that you understand all of the terms regarding the debit card. If you notice that once you click this, it pops up an option to say, file your online claim. This brings you to a page where you can log into your account in order to file a claim. If you would like to use a language other than English, such as Spanish or Polish, you can go up to the drop-down menu here and choose either of those other languages. If you wish to do that in another language, you should really make this selection now, because you can see here it says that changing your language selection at a later point will cause you to lose all your previously entered data. If you haven't already done so, this is where you would register for a new username and password on the bottom here by clicking to register. I have not already done so, so I will now click to register. This brings you to a page where you first need to supply the requested information before it will let you create your username and password. Make sure you write your information exactly as it reads on your driver's license or state ID. Exactly. You don't want to have any issues because of a small mismatch. Once you finish this information, you can click Continue at the bottom of the screen. This will bring you to a page where you choose your username and password. Make sure you write down your username and password and keep them somewhere safe, and make sure not to share them with anyone. When you are done so, you can click Ahead. You have now officially registered. Again, make sure you keep your username and password safe. Now, if you are filing a new claim, you can go ahead and go to the top of the page and hover your mouse over Individual Home. This will bring up a drop-down menu where you will be clicking File My Unemployment Claim. This brings you to a page where you can fill out address and personal information. From this page, the first thing you can do is choose Spanish or Polish as other languages if those languages are better for you. Go ahead and fill out these questions. Make sure to fill out a good phone number where you can be reached in order to prevent any delay in processing. There's a question here about your 1099-G form. The 1099-G is a tax form you will need when you file your taxes showing the amount of unemployment benefits you received. Here it is asking whether you would like to receive this form electronically. You can choose yes or no. There is also a question down here of asking whether or not you are a US citizen. If you are not a US citizen, click no. And you will see it prompts you with new questions here where you will be asked to include information about your work authorization. There is also a question of which language do you prefer? This offers a lot more options than previously available. A question here asks if you would like to claim dependents. If you click yes here, you will be prompted on a future screen to add more of their information. And this gives you several options of who you want to claim as dependent, whether it is a child under the age of 17 or potentially a spouse. I will be clicking that I want to claim a child under the age of 17 or younger as a dependent. And you can click Continue when you are done. After you click Continue, it may prompt you to confirm your address with the US Postal Service official version. Just confirm that this address listed is correct. Choose a suggested address, go back to the bottom of the screen and click Continue. Now, since I said I wanted to claim a dependent, it has asked me to provide their information. Include all of the information requested. On the next page, it has pulled up a recent employer for me. Confirm all of this information about this recent employer is correct. It also asks me about the most recent start date for this employer. This is just in case you worked for this employer, left, and then subsequently came back. Further down here, you have a menu of options, including reason for separation from this employer. I will be choosing laid off due to lack of work, but there are other options, and make sure to fill this out correctly. There is a section down here where you are asked to enter wages for the last few days of my employment. I listed my last day of employment as 3/31/2020. And this is requiring me to put in the last few days of gross wages for this employer. Remember, gross wages are those that are before you take any taxes or other deductions out of your paycheck. Once you are finished completing the rest of these questions, you can click continue. Now it is asking you to confirm that all of the employers listed here are accurate for this year. I am saying yes. After you do so, you can click continue. This page is now asking some questions to see if you fall into any of these other categories. Option at the top that says, I'm a member of a union. All my work assignments are made through a hiring hall. If you are a union member that does not have a hiring hall, this will not apply to you. If you are or were an SEIU Local 1 member, this option will not apply to you, since Local 1 and Local 1 employers do not utilize a hiring hall. This is also where you can list if you are still employed with your employer, but had your hours temporarily reduced. For a lot of people, this will be an option. For me, I am saying none of the above because I have been completely laid off from my job. It is also asking you if you have a definite return date to work that has been set officially. I'm choosing no. Once you have finished filling out the rest of these, you can click continue to get to the next page. The next page here is asking several other questions that you should read and answer carefully to determine the exact level of your eligibility. When you're finished answering these questions, you can click continue. Now this is an extremely important page listed here, so we will spend a little bit more time on here. One thing this shows your estimated weekly benefit, otherwise sometimes called your WBA, and how much you are estimated to receive weekly for any dependents you may have claimed. It is important to remember that this is not a final determination, but an estimate at this point. As of today's date, April 3rd, 2020, the Illinois Department of Employment Security has stated that they are implementing the new COVID-19 Stimulus Act, the CARES Act, and that, quote, individuals receiving unemployment benefits will receive an additional $600 each week above what they would have received in regular unemployment benefits until July 31st, 2020. So here we have listed my estimated benefit that does not include the additional $600 yet. Now, before you move on from here, this is a good time to make sure that all of the information in the other sections is correct. And you can edit these by clicking edit for each section. But remember, the website will log you off after 1 hour of inactivity, and you may lose all your progress in your application. So please be careful to make sure you are not letting it sit here with long periods of inactivity. Also, make sure if you are asked to fax something, you do this immediately. Remember earlier when I showed that it prompted you to fax a copy of work authorization if you are an immigrant. That's just one example. Make sure you do this promptly in order to speed up processing of your claim. Below, you have several extremely important links of information you will be expected to understand. Make sure to click on each of these links and save the links somewhere so you can return to them as references. One of the most important documents that is listed here that you should understand is the Unemployment Insurance Benefit Handbook. If you click on here, The link will open in another page, giving you all of the information for you to read through and understand carefully. Once you file your claim, you will find in here the next steps that you will have to undergo. A very important section of the Illinois Unemployment Handbook is a section titled, "What happens when you file your new claim for benefits?" This goes into the next steps after you file your claim. The first of which is after you file your claim, you will be assigned a call date to certify those benefits, and you're required to complete your registration with the Illinois Employment Service System at illinoisjoblink.com. Ultimately, after your claim is filed, the IDES will send you a statement called a UI finding. This finding shows your first certification date, the wages you were paid by each employer in each calendar year, the date of claim and benefit year, and begin dates. Your weekly benefit amount and your dependent allowance and your maximum benefit balance. If these findings are correct, please retain this. If it is not, please report any errors immediately to the IDES and be prepared to show proof of wages paid during this period. Also, as of now, the state of Illinois is asking if you have lost your job partly or in full due to COVID-19. So if that's the case, please click yes here. Next, you must read and make sure you understand all these terms and conditions before you file your claim. After you do so and you fully understand all these conditions before you check the boxes, you are then ready to file your claim. This is a good opportunity to make sure all of the information you have listed before is accurate. Once you have done so, you can click File My Claim. If you are denied unemployment benefits, make sure you appeal. Please remember also to be patient through this process and be prepared to wait, as the unemployment office is currently extremely overwhelmed with applications. Good luck, and please stay safe and healthy during this unprecedented time.